Hello students, myself Amrita Dhar, Assistant Professor of Electrical Engineering Department of Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management, JIS Group. I will teach you Power System 3.
In this video, I will discuss about two-area load frequency control. This topic is included in Module 3 of the subject Power System 3. Course code is EE-703A. To explain two-area load frequency control over PowerPoint presentation is very difficult. I have to do board work to make you understand better. In this video, I will discuss about two-area load frequency control. Now, an extended power system can be divided into a number of load frequency control areas interconnected by means of tie lines. Now, without loss of generality, we shall consider a two-area case connected by a single line. This is our control area 1. And this is our control area 2. Now, these two areas are connected by tie line. Now, what is tie line? This is a transmission line. It not only flows the electric power, but also it has inbuilt control capacity. Control system. Now the control objective now is to regulate the frequency of each area and to simultaneously regulate the tie line power as per inter-area power contracts. Now, as in the case of frequency, proportional plus integral controller will be installed so as to give zero steady state error in tie line power flow as compared to the contracted power. Now, suppose this is the area of WBACDC and this is the area of CESC. So, it supply the power, it transmit the power according to the contract. It is conveniently assumed that each control area can be represented by a equivalent turbine generator governor system, and symbols used with suffix 1 for this control area 1 and suffix 2 for the control area 2. Now, in an isolated control area case, the incremental power, that is total generation minus total demand, this is the incremental power, was accounted for by rate of increase of stored kinetic energy, increase in area load caused by increase in frequency. Okay, now in case of a single area load frequency control, we see that this incremental power increase the kinetic energy and load frequency control. But in this case, when a tie line is present in two area case, since a tie line transport power in or out of an area, this fact must be accounted for an incremental power balance equation, and power transported out of area 1 power transported out of area 1 is given by P tie 1 is for area 1 is equals to V1 V2 X12 sine delta 1 to the power 0, that is the initial condition, minus delta 2. Now, you all know this equation of synchronous generator, where delta 1 and delta 0 are the power angle. Delta 1 and delta 0 are the power angles of equivalent machines of the two areas. Now delta P tie 1 is equals to V1 V2 by x12 cos delta 1 minus delta 2 d delta 1 minus d delta 2. Now the value of P tie 1 per unit is equals to V1 V2 by x12 divided by PR1 rating of area 1 cos delta 1 minus delta 2 d delta 1 minus d delta 2. Now this is equals to T12 d delta 1 minus d delta 2. So delta P tie 1 per unit is equal to T12 delta 1 minus delta 2. Now this T12 is known as synchronizing coefficient. Now since incremental power angles are integrals of incremental frequency, so delta P tie 1 can be written as 2 pi T12 delta F1 dt minus delta F2 dt. Now where delta F1 and delta F2 are the incremental frequency changes of area 1 and 2. Now Laplace transformation of this equal to P tie 1 S is equal to 2 pi T12 delta F1 S minus delta F2 S for integration 1 by S. Now similarly for area 2, the incremental tie line power for area 2 incremental tie line power is equals to delta P tie 2 V2 V1 x21 cos delta 2 minus delta 1 d delta 2 minus d delta 1. Okay. Now delta P tie 2 per unit is equals to V2 V1 X21 PR2 cos delta 2 minus delta 1 delta 2 minus delta 1. Now similarly incremental power angles are integral of incremental frequency, so it can be written as delta P tie 2 is equals to, now before that this is equal to T21 delta 2 minus delta 1. Now where the value of T21 is equals to V2 V1 X21 PR2 cos delta 2 minus delta 1. Okay. Now in the similar way, the incremental tie line power out of area 2 can be written as delta P tie 2 T21 delta P tie 2 is 2 pi T21 integration delta F2 dt minus delta F1 dt. Now it can be written as T12 is equals to V1 V2 PR1 X12 cos delta 1 minus delta 2, and T21 is equals to V1 V2 PR2 X12 is equals to X21, so X21 is equals to X12, and cos delta 2 minus delta 1 is equals to cos delta 1 minus delta 2, so it can be written as T21 by T12 can be written as T21 1 by PR2 V1 V2 X21 cos delta 1 minus delta 2, this is same delta 2 minus delta 1, V1 T12 is V1 V2 PR1 X12 cos delta 1 minus delta 2.
Now V1, V2, X12 cos delta 1 minus delta 2 all are cancelled out.
So T21 by T12 is equals to PR1 by PR2 because all are cancelled out. Now P1 R1 minus by PR2 can be written as A12, so T21 is equal to A12 T12. Now in the beginning of this video I told that incremental power contributes the kinetic energy and frequency change in case of single area, and for two area it contributes to kinetic energy, change in frequency and tie line power. So incremental power is equals to delta Pg minus delta Pd, which is equals to change in kinetic energy 2h1 by f10 ddt of delta f1 plus b1 delta f1 plus tie line power. Now this is the kinetic energy, this is the change in frequency, and this is the tie line power. So taking Laplace transformation, delta PGS minus delta PDS is equals to 2h1s f10 delta f of s plus b1 delta f of s plus tie line power. Now delta f1s is equals to f10 plus b1 is equal to delta PGS minus delta PDS minus delta P tie line 1 power. Now delta f1s is equals to delta PGS minus delta PDS minus delta P tie line 1 s by b1 plus 2h1 by f10 into s. Now we take common 1 by b1, so this becomes 1 plus 2h1 by f1 b1 is into delta PGS minus delta PDS minus delta P tie 1 s. Now as we know, 1 by b1 is equals to kps and 2h by f1 b1 is equals to tps. So delta f1s is equals to delta pgs minus delta pds minus delta P tie 1 s into kps 1 plus s tps. Now if we draw the block diagram, then there are 3 inputs. One is delta PGS, second one is delta PDS, and third input is delta P tie. And transfer function is kps 1 plus stps and output is delta f1s. Now for control area 2, now for control area 2, delta P tie line 2s is equals to minus 2 pi a12 t12 by s delta f1s minus delta f2s. Okay, now what is the value of delta P tie line 1? This is equals to 2 pi t12 by s delta f1s minus delta f2s. Now if we draw the block diagram, then If we draw the block diagram, this is delta F2S, this is tie line power for control area 2, this is frequency of control area 1, and this is the tie line power for control area 1. And this is 2 pi T12 by S A12 . Now what is tie line power? Delta P tie line 1, this is equals to delta F1S minus delta F2S into 2 pi T12 by S. And what is tie line power 2? Delta F1S minus delta F2S, delta F1S minus delta F2S into 2 pi T12 by S into, sorry, here is the minus sign, minus A12. Okay, so this is the tie line power 1 and this is the tie line power 2. Now let us turn our attention to area control error in the presence of a tie line. In the case of an isolated control area, area control error is the change in area frequency which, when used in integral control loop, force the steady state frequency error to 0. In order that steady state tie line power error in a two area control be made 0, another integral control loop must be introduced to integrate the incremental tie line power signal and feed it to back to the speed changer. This is accomplished by a single integrating block by redefining area control error as a linear combination of incremental frequency and tie line power. So for control area 1, the area control error ACE is equals to delta P tie line power 1 plus change in frequency. Now this B1 is known as frequency, bias, and if we taking Laplace, delta P tie line 1 plus B1 delta F1S. Now for control area 2, ACE2 is equal to delta P tie 2 plus B2 into delta F2. Now taking Laplace, area control error is to tie line 2S plus B2 delta F2S. Now let the step changes in loads delta PD1 and delta PD2 be simultaneously applied in control area 1 and control area 2 respectively. When steady state condition are reached, the output signals of all integrating blocks will become constant, and in order for this to be so, their input signal must become 0. So, area control error for control area 1 should be equals to 0, and this is input for input of integrating block Ki1 by S. Delta tie line power for second control area should be equals to 0. That means area control error for control area 2 should be equals to 0, and this is the input of integrating block Ki2 by S, and delta F1 minus delta F2 is equals to 0. This is the input of integrating block. Block minus 2 pi T12 by S. Now delta tie line power 1 by delta tie line power for control area 2 is equal to T12 by T21 is equals to minus 1 by A12, and this is constant. This equals to constant. Now these equations are only satisfied when delta tie line power for control area, delta tie line power for control area 2 is equals to 0, and delta F1 equals to delta F2 equals to 0. Now this is the complete block diagram of two area control. These are the integrating block. Okay, these are the integrating block, and there is another integrating block 2 pi T12 by S. This is for control area 1 and this is for control area 2. Okay, now first this is delta F1S. B1 into delta F1S plus P tie 1S is equals to area control error, because area control error is delta P tie 1 in plus B1 into delta F1. Now this is the input of the integrating block minus Ki1 by S. So this is equals to U1, that is equals to delta PC1. Now delta PC1 into delta PC1 minus 1 by R1 into delta F1S is the input of the speed governor and turbine model, and the output of the turbine model is the delta PG1, and there is another input, that is minus delta PD. So this is the delta PD1S, and this is the transfer function of the load generator load model, and the final output is the frequency. Now in this case, in the second area, this is same, that is ACE2 area control error for second area is equals to delta P tie 2 plus B2 delta F2. Now this is delta F2 into B2, and this is delta P tie 2. Now total is ACE2, that is area control error for area 2, and this is the input of Ki2 integrating block Ki2 by S, and this is equals to U2, which is equals to delta PC2 into S. Now this is delta PC2S, that means input speed changer input, minus 1 by R2 into delta F2S is the input signals of speed governor and turbine model. This is the transfer function of speed governor and turbine model, and where KSG into KT is almost equivalent, almost equal to 1. Okay, and the output of this model is delta Pg2, and there is another input power demand, load demand, delta PD. So delta Pg2 minus delta PD2 minus delta P tie 2 is the input of the generator load model, and this is the transfer function of generator load model, and the output is delta F2S. Now in case of single area, the delta P tie 1 and 2 are missing. Now in case of two area, the input of the generator load model is equals to delta PG minus delta PD minus delta P tie. Now what is delta P tie 1? Delta P tie 1 is equals to 2 pi T12 by S delta F1S minus delta F2S. So delta P tie 1S is delta F1s, this is delta F1s minus, this is delta F2s, delta F1s minus delta F2s into 2 pi T12 by S is equal to delta P tie 1s. And what is the value of delta P tie 2s? It is equals to minus A12 into 2 pi T12 by S into delta F1s minus delta F2s. Now, so under steady condition, change in the tie line power and frequency of each area is 0, and this has been achieved by integration of ACEs in the feedback loop of each area. Now, dynamic response is difficult to obtain by transfer function approach because of the complexity of blocks and multi-input delta PT1, delta PT2, multiple output delta P tie 1, delta P tie 2, delta F1, delta F2 situation. Multi-input, multi-output situation. A more organized and more convenient carried out analysis is through the state space approach, that means a time domain approach. Now the result of two area system obtained through digital computer study are shown in this picture. The two areas are assumed with identical with the system parameter given by TSG is equal to 0.4, TT is equal to 0.5 and TPS is equal to 20 second. These are the typical value of power, typical value of TSG, TT and TPS, and KPS is 100, R is 3, B is 0.425, KI is 0.09 and 2 pi T12 is equal to 0.05. These are also typical value of these parameters. Now this figure shows the change in delta P tie 1 with the change in the tie line power due to step load 0.01 per unit change in the area. Now this is the graph for optimal case full state feedback, and this is with this graph is with integral control action, and this is the figure of change in frequency with the change in step load of 0.01 per unit for area 1. Now optimal case, this curve shows the optimal case full state feedback, and this curve shows the integral control action.
That's all from today's class. If you have any problem, please contact with me. My contact details is given on the first slide. Thank you.